The waiter set the leather folder on the table with a soft, expensive thud. Inside was a number that made my stomach drop $685.50. I looked up, expecting Caleb to make his usual joke about business expenses. Instead, he was buttoning his blazer, looking at me with pure boredom. "A girl with your limited vision should be grateful I even let you experience this altitude," he said. His voice was calm, conversational. Then he turned and walked out of the Vertex, leaving me sitting there with a maxed out credit card and the pitying stares of the staff burning my back. I didn't scream. I didn't chase him. I pulled out my card, my hands shaking. "Before I tell you how I made him regret every single syllable, drop a comment telling me, what is the most expensive meal you've ever paid for that you didn't even get to eat?" The drive home was silent. My knuckles were white on the steering wheel, but my mind wasn't on the road. It was replaying the last 2 years. How did I get here? I'm 27. A professional event coordinator. I'm not stupid. But as the city skyline faded, the cold truth settled in. I hadn't been stupid. I had been an investor. Caleb wasn't just a boyfriend. He was a project. From day one, he sold me a vision. He wasn't a guy on a computer. He was a visionary founder, about to disrupt Silicon Valley. He hooked me with future-pacing, dazzling promises of what was coming. We spent Sundays scrolling through his curated Pinterest boards, titled Lake Como Wedding and Malibu Glass House. Every time I questioned paying the rent, the groceries, or his car insurance, he'd point to the future. "Babe, we're in the building phase. You're investing in us. Once the beta launches, you'll never work another day." I stayed because of the sunk cost fallacy. I treated our relationship like a startup, pouring capital into it, terrified to walk away and lose my equity. But tonight, the market crashed. He hadn't just broken up with me, he had liquidated his position. He told me to my face that I was no longer a shareholder in the future I had paid for. I walked into my apartment, the one he called quaint, and stood in the dark kitchen. The silence was heavy. For the first time, the noise of managing his ego stopped. I walked to my laptop and opened a new spreadsheet titled, The Audit. I wasn't looking for closure. I was looking for evidence. Because when a contract is breached, you don't cry. You assess the damages. The next morning, I woke up to an overdraft warning. A $150 charge for his essential design software had tipped the scale. I stared at the screen. I realized I didn't even know what his app did. He always said it was too technical for me to understand. I sat at my desk and started adding the numbers. The high-speed internet, the server fees, the ergonomic throne he sat on. I realized I had funded 80% of our lives while he bootstrapped. Then, a DM popped up on Instagram from a user I didn't follow. User, Dev, Julian. "Hey, I saw Caleb's post about the launch. We need to talk. I'm the lead developer," he keeps tagging. My stomach turned. Caleb bragged about Julian constantly, the coding prodigy he'd hired. I typed back, "Who is this?" The reply was instant. "Meet me at the Grind in 30 minutes. It's important." The Grind was a gritty coffee shop, the antithesis of the Vertex. Julian looked nothing like a high-priced developer. He looked exhausted, wearing a hoodie and dark circles under his eyes. "You're the girlfriend," he said, taking a sip of black coffee. "The investor." "Is that what he calls me?" I asked. "No, that's what I call you. Because I know he doesn't have any money." I felt a chill. He has a startup. He's in beta. Julian looked at me with pity. "There is no startup. Sienna, there is no beta." He leaned forward. "I've tracked his IP. He's not coding late at night. He's playing World of Warcraft. And those business trips to San Francisco, he stays in hotels you pay for and posts pictures from the lobby. He works for a temp agency. Data entry. Level 2. He copies spreadsheets for an insurance firm remotely." I felt a hysterical laugh bubbling up. The visionary who called me small-minded was a data entry clerk. But the money I whispered? My money. Where did it go, lifestyle? Julian said. The image. But that's not the worst part. He turned his laptop screen toward me. It was an email from Caleb to his father. Robert. Subject: seed round opportunity. He solicited $50,000 from his parents last month. Julian said. He sent them this screenshot. It showed an investment portfolio with a balance of $2 million. It's a paper trading simulation app. Julian explained. It's a game. It's fake money. He showed them a high score in a video game and took their retirement savings. $50,000? Plus my $96,000 over 2 years. He wasn't just a liar. He was a financial predator eating his own family alive. Why tell me this? I asked. Because he offered to pay me in equity. Julian spat. 5% of nothing. When I asked for cash, he told me I should be grateful for the exposure. Grateful. That word again. His weapon. He's planning to ask them for more money at their anniversary party this Saturday. Julian added. He needs to keep the Ponzi scheme going. I looked at Julian's tired eyes. I felt the shock harden into something cold. Indignation. I'm going to that party? I said. He'll throw you out. No. He won't. Because I know his secret. And I need a +1. Are you free? Julian smiled. A sharp, dangerous look. For this I'm free. I drove home with a new clarity. I wasn't the victim anymore. I was the auditor. My phone buzzed. It was Linda. Caleb's mom. So excited for the big announcement at the anniversary. Dinner. Caleb told us everything. Can't wait to see you. My blood ran cold. He hadn't told them we broke up. He needed the power couple prop to secure the next check. He was using me one last time. I met my friend Layla at a park. I showed her the texts. He thinks he can charm or gaslight me into playing along. I said, so we burn him down, Layla asked. We OD'd him. But I can't go in there screaming. That makes me the crazy ex. I need to be undeniable. I explained the plan. I'm using the gray rock method. It's a psychological strategy for dealing with narcissists. You become uninteresting, unreactive like a rock. You deny them the emotional fuel they crave. I will not cry. I will not yell. I will just state facts. Emotional Aikido. Layla nodded. Use his momentum against him. Saturday arrived with a mocking blue sky. I dressed in a sharp black jumpsuit armor. I drove to the lake house. My mind, a spreadsheet of dates and debts. Caleb was waiting on the porch. When he saw me, panic flashed in his eyes before he masked it with a shark-like smile. He marched down the steps and grabbed my arm, his fingers digging in hard. Don't you dare embarrass me, he hissed, his breath hot in my ear. You smile. You nod. I'll pay you back for dinner next week. Double. Just keep your mouth shut. I looked at him. I didn't flinch. I didn't pull away. Hello. Caleb. I said. My voice was flat. Bored. He blinked. Thrown off by the lack of fear. We are a team tonight. My parents are expecting news. I know. I'm looking forward to it. He searched my face for emotion and found none. Good girl, he muttered, steering me up the stairs like a prop. Inside, the house was full of wealthy friends and champagne. Linda rushed over, hugging me. Sienna, Caleb said you were under the weather. I'm feeling much better now. Linda, I said smoothly. Caleb dragged me toward his uncle. Jerry, this is Sienna. My co-founder. Co-founder? Another promotion to cover a lie. She handles the soft skills, Caleb said, winking at Jerry. HR. Keeping the office pretty. You know how it is. In the past, I would have fumed. Now, I just cataloged it. Item misogyny. Value 0 respect. Actually, I cut in. Voice calm. I handle logistics and financial auditing. Details are important. You never know where a decimal point might wander off to. Caleb's smile stiffened. She's a riot. Anyway, Jerry, about that bridge loan. I watched him work the room. He was manic, sweating slightly. He was projecting his insecurity onto everyone else. Every time he bragged, every time he belittled a waiter, he was confessing his own mediocrity. He hated himself, and he needed everyone else to be small so he could feel big. I excused myself and went to the side gate to let Julian in. He was wearing an ill-fitting suit, clutching his laptop like a shield. Wait on the patio. I told him, when I talk about the stock market, you come in. Dinner was served. Caleb sat at the head of the table, placing me next to him like a trophy. Robert stood up to make a toast. To Caleb, and to the impending IPO. We are so proud of the legacy you're building. Here. Here the room cheered. Caleb stood up, buttoning his jacket. Thanks. Dad, we're disrupting the entire sector, and that's why we're opening a special friends and family round tonight. Dad? Mom. I know you've supported the vision, but this is your chance to double down before we go public. He looked at them expectantly. Robert was reaching for his checkbook. It was time. I cleared my throat. The sound cracked through the room like a whip. Speaking of the IPO, Caleb, I said. My voice was conversational. Caleb froze. What Julian called me. Your lead developer. The room went dead silent. He was confused. I continued. About the investment portfolio screenshots, you sent your parents. Sienna. This isn't the time, Caleb stammered. Sweat beading on his forehead. He said they were from a paper trading simulation app. He said the money isn't real. Robert frowned. Caleb, what is she talking about? She's confused. Caleb laughed nervously. She doesn't understand the back end. It's a visualization tool. And the $685 bill from the Vertex, I asked. Pulling out my phone. My bank fraud department flagged it. Since a founder usually pays for his own launch dinner. Stop, Caleb hissed. You're drunk. You're jealous. I'm not drunk. Caleb. I'm auditing. I stood up. There is no startup. Robert. Caleb works for a temp agency. He does data entry. He makes $18 an hour. Lear Caleb screamed. The mask shattering. She's crazy. She's trying to ruin me. Show them the bank account. I said calmly. Log in right now. Security protocols. Or, I said, turning to the patio doors. We can ask the lead developer? I nodded. The doors opened. Julian walked in. Julian placed his laptop on the table next to the centerpiece. The silence was a vacuum. I'm not a developer, Julian said to Robert, because there is no company. He turned the screen around. It showed a Steam profile 87 hours played in 2 weeks. This is what he does when he says he's coding. He clicked a tab. A personal bank statement. Balance $42. Shaba. And this is where your $50,000 went. He scrolled. BMW lease. Bar tabs. Gucci. Online casino. Linda let out a sound that broke my heart. She covered her mouth, staring at the screen. No, she whispered. Caleb, tell me this isn't real. Caleb looked at the screen. Then, at the horrified faces of his investors, he broke. So what, he screamed, slamming his hands on the table. So what if I spent it? I deserve it. He turned on his father. You put so much pressure on me, my son, the genius. I needed the image to get the part. If you hadn't been so cheap, I could have made it real. Hispun on me. Spittle flying. And you petty, small-minded anchor. You couldn't just support me. I was going to buy you that house. You should have been grateful I wasn't an anchor. I said softly. I was the engine. And the tank is empty. You're nothing, he shrieked. You're a receptionist. I am a visionary. The only thing you created, I said, was debt. Get out, Robert said. His voice was low, shaking with rage. Dad. Wait, get out. You are a thief, and you are not welcome in this house. Caleb looked at his mother. Mom Linda didn't look at him. She looked at me, at my calm face, my steady hands. Go, she whispered. Caleb snared, trying to summon one last shred of arrogance. Fine. You don't deserve my vision anyway. He grabbed a bottle of champagne from the table, one last petty theft, and stormed out. The front door slammed with finality. Robert slumped into his chair, looking 10 years older. You saved us, he said to me, his voice thick, from losing everything else. I'm sorry, I said, and I meant it. Not for Caleb, but for them. I walked out into the cool night air with Julian. You okay? He asked. That was brutal, I said. It was accounting, Julian replied. I drove home in silence. I was broke. I was single. I had to start over. But for the first time in 2 years, the silence wasn't heavy. It was clean. I owned 100% of my life again. 3 months later, I sat in my boss's office. "We're promoting you," she said. "Senior coordinator. The way you handled that venue crisis. You were calm, decisive. It was impressive. I've been practicing my crisis management." I smiled. I walked out and checked my phone. A text from Layla. "Guess who I saw at the mall? Caleb. He's working at a kiosk selling phone cases." I didn't laugh. I didn't gloat. He was just a data point in a closed spreadsheet. I looked out the window. The girl who paid for the view at the Vertex was gone. The woman standing here didn't invest in potential anymore. She invested in reality. If you're holding on to a relationship just because you've already invested years into it, remember, the only thing more expensive than leaving is staying. Share this story if you've ever had to restart your life from scratch to find your peace.